You're watching LMCC, your community TV.
Why be a firefighter? There's so many key components, but let me give you three. I think key parts are team, the family connectedness, and the community connectedness.
Pride and ownership, in serving your community, the camaraderie and the brotherhood of the fire service, whether you're a man or a woman. In our department, there's 40 firefighters that become your friend.
It's almost like having a second family joining the Loretto Fire Department, and that's the fun about it, is you build this bond with these people, and it's an enjoyable time.
We have between 40 and 50 firefighters with all different types of skills. We can put them in a crew together and really work efficiently.
You can give back at any age to your community. I have a wide range of between 20-year-olds to 58-year-olds currently.
That brings some great things because they bring tools and occupations that maybe people can tap from in a different way.
After you get a few calls under your belt, you start to get a good feel for it, and you start to realize that you're kind of meant to do this.
Firefighters that have been with us for 10, 20, or 25 years have come to me and said, "This is the best decision I've ever made in my life. It's changed my life."
So every fire department has a little bit different requirements with what it might take for them to be able to be a firefighter. But general requirements are that you're going to be at least 18 years of age, you're going to have completed high school or a GED equivalent.
You need to have a valid driver's license. You need to pass a physical exam that the fire department pays for.
And then it would be background checks and perhaps a psychological evaluation or a medical evaluation to be able to go through and make sure that they're a good fit. And then one of the other parts that's really becomes important is you might live in or near that area, because response times are such a big part of that.
To become a firefighter, you need to go through Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2, hazmat operations, and EMR responder. That's for the medical training.
It's all paid for, and you typically are going through it with other people that you're going to be on the department with.
Some recruits want to do it all right up front and they want to do it all right away. Some want to spread it over a period of time, and so that flexibility is there to be able to do that.
You do not have to complete those before you can go out on a call. Usually firefighters in our organization are out on a call approximately 3 months into their careers.
We're never going to have anybody who just finish a class come in and do something that they know nothing about. We never go beyond our scope of what we know.
It's very rewarding once you get through that Firefighter 1 and Firefighter 2, and that initial training is, you're part of that fire department family.
After that initial training, then we train every week. And we know that everybody can't be there every Thursday, but what we look for is core training, fire skills, medical skills.
Car crashes, boat fires, people through the ice.
The requirements within the department for people keeping their certifications up and all that are met by the weekly trainings.
So it's about 6 to 8 hours a month, which amounts to roughly 80 hours a year.
Pretty typical that people would say 25–30% of the calls. We always tell people that as long as you continue to be active in coming to calls and active in training, you're never going to have an issue staying at what those minimums are.
When they say volunteer fire department in Minnesota, they mean typically paid on call.
So all of your training, all of your calls, all of your meeting, any type of events we pay for.
The average firefighter in our department earns about $5,000 to $6,000 per year.
So they're not going to certainly get rich at doing that, but it's certainly something to offset the costs that we're taking them away from family or work or other things that they're doing. And another piece, I think, is the pension component. And that's certainly a nice compensation that happens at the end of your service.
Part of the reason I decided it was good to be on this fire department is I worked from home. I'm like, well, I can spare a couple hours here and there to respond to the fire department.
One of the reasons why we have 40 or more paid on-call firefighters is because we know people can't come to every call. They're not available at every time. You might be away at work, and that's okay, but somebody else is here.
We average about 50% of the calls during the day and 50% of the calls at night. So you're able to give back in the evening when you're home available. I think that's the biggest thing, is when you're available and you're able to respond and help out our department is what we appreciate.
And those calls relate from fire-related calls to medical-related calls to crashes on our roadways to what we classify as special-related calls, or things that might happen out on the lake or in some of our other areas.
Training happens on every scene. Our officers and our training department will be there and talk about what we could have done better or why we did something we did.
Anybody that has reservations about it or even thinks they want to be a firefighter should at least look into it. There's very few people that we hire that we lose. Once they've gotten into it, it becomes a lifestyle and it's very rewarding.
When you join the fire department, not only is it you joining, but it's your family joining. As they grow up in the fire service, their families grow up in the fire service. And so we find that being a pretty neat and connected environment as well.
My first thought was, well, I'm never going to be able to juggle all that, but I did it anyhow. And then when you get in, you find out it's not quite as difficult to juggle as you think. I think it's one of the best choices I ever made. I've got 47 brothers and sisters that I didn't have 5 years ago.
A lot of people see the firefighter walk down the street. They look up to a firefighter. They look up to him and say, that person was out at my house and they came and they helped me that day. And to walk around and hear that from the community and to know that's what you're giving back, there is a huge sense of pride. You feel so proud for being part of that organization, being able to do that.
If you like a challenge, you like to learn new things, you like to work with a team of fun people, help your community, consider joining the volunteer fire department. You won't regret it.